My ideal self is wearing a flowy nightgown, standing on a balcony at sunset, sipping grape juice out of a chalice that I stole from the ultimate house of blood money and British debauchery, Buckingham Palace. Suck it, you walking raisinette. 1776, baby. I also farted on her pillow. That's payback for Diana. She's my daily reminder to wear a seatbelt. The wind blows through my jasmine-scented hair. My nips are hard. A small person runs up to me and grabs me around the waist. Who is this suspicious character? I realize it's one of my offspring, as the scent of sulfur and vanilla wafts from the top of their head into my delicate nostrils. This person definitely came out of my body, violently at that. They do have a bowl cut, though, so I'm assuming it's the kid that I don't love as much. I pat them on the head and say, if you leave mommy alone, I'll give you the keys to the yacht. An agreement is made. I shake their tiny hand, meeting my monthly quota for physical contact with them. My mind wanders to thoughts of my wealthy, handsome husband who's away on business where he charges poor people for inhaling oxygen, an incredibly lucrative profession in the future. I am, of course, equally wealthy from my myriad of multi-level marketing schemes and business ventures, the most successful of which being a motivational course where I go to your house, slap you across the face, and call you a sweaty loser, continuing to berate you with a series of deep-cutting insults so personal that they restructure your feeble mind, causing you to change your ways. I win the Elizabeth Holmes Award for Business Savvy as a result. As the sun begins to set, I realize that I've been on my feet for over 10 minutes. I must now rest. I ring a tiny bell, and a series of beautiful Italianos, all named Paolo, come to carry me to my bedchambers and massage my feet. They must be Italian, because I'm Ethiopian, and their servitude acts as a mild form of reparations for Mussolini using chemical weapons against my people. By golly, will I make this dream a reality one day. Being a left-wing degenerate, I of course fantasize about the toppling of our rigid class system as a hologram of Bernie Sanders and Marx giving each other the sloppy toppy plays in the background. However, during my excessive bouts of maladaptive daydreaming, I do envision a life of imperial opulence. Don't get me wrong, I've been fortunate enough to lead a very comfortable existence. Yet, like any privileged ingrate, my tiny heart yearns for more. I'm woman enough to admit that, above all things, I am a hypocrite. I want to drink from the golden chalice, experience the height of elegance, and immediately abandon all of my class consciousness and principles, eradicating severe socioeconomic inequality. Who's that? I've never heard of her. The second that I secure the bag, I'm throwing all of my supposedly deeply held beliefs out the window. Values are for the poor. The hope of achieving upward mobility is something that is dangled in front of the impoverished to keep them from dragging the wealthy out of their manners. I already know the flavor of rich person that I will be. I would say the skiing in Aspen type, wearing adorable little earmuffs that they skinned a baby seal for, if it wasn't for the fact that I hate sports, particularly ones that can only be done in the snow. It's cold, and my body would be producing sweat? No, ma'am. I'm not a sucker. You're not gonna get me to exercise recreationally. You hear that, Michelle Obama? I refuse to move. Let my muscles wither and atrophy. I will be damned before I take instructions from a woman with a bob. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get so emotional. It's just that the Let's Move campaign was a very traumatic experience for me. So I guess I won't be that flavor of rich. Perhaps I'll be the island vacation type.
Yeah, one more class. One more class.
You know the type of wealthy person that loves being in heat, roasting their flesh in the open sun, drinking in the brightness, ordering mojitos and tipping the waiter generously on the off chance that the poor pull a 1789 and start sharpening their guillotines. They will remember your kindness and spare you, or at the very least chuck you some extra bread as you await your execution. A small rat has graced you with his presence in your jail cell. You name him Manuel. You share a crumb of your brioche with him. As both of you nibble on the nourishing carbs, you look back on your life. Was it worth it in the end, supporting severe class stratification? Knowing that your luxury came at the price of the exploitation of millions? Was it? Abso-frickin-lutely. And I'm certain that most of you, if given the choice, would act similarly. I'm not here for political debate or modern-day Socratic dialogue regarding current issues. Who am I? ContraPoints? You champagne socialists can kiss my brown cheeks. Both pairs. You probably would like that, wouldn't you? Tiny perv. I know for a fact that, above all, I will be the brand of rich woman that drapes herself in fur. I'm talking about a fur coat so large that it requires the slaughtering of an entire family of rabbits. That was a depressing image to envision. But then again, I once did try to befriend a rabbit that made its way into my backyard. But then it told me to screw off and said that I looked like I listened to the Chainsmokers. So that species is on its own as far as I'm concerned. I am roughly the size of a 6th grader, so even a fur coat that is of reasonable length would be able to cover most of my well-moisturized bod. Pair that with some oversized sunglasses and nice heels with some Dr. Scholl inserts. The cherry on top would be a pair of giant hoop earrings that say slutty and even sluttier on the right and left ear, respectively. I would be unstoppable. Catch me showing up to the funeral of my arch nemesis in that outfit. All of my fantasies involve me being petty and dramatic. I throw a single rose on their casket. Their mourning spouse asks me how I know the recently deceased. I respond that we were lovers, and then look away dramatically as a single, perfectly formed tear rolls down my cheek. A look of betrayal washes tears over their grieving face. It is then that I sprint away, making sure to grab a handful of those donut holes that they're serving at the wake. What I told them was a lie, of course, but I yearn to stir the pot and cause chaos in the life of a mourning family. And you can do that type of thing when you're wealthy. I can't wait to rise up the socioeconomic ladder and enter a new tax bracket. I want to be offensively rich and abandon all of my morals. I'm going to be a monster. I'll be at one with a great jewelry collection, and in the end, that's all that matters. Maybe I even get a little chihuahua to carry around. They're the most disgusting species of dog, and I love them for that. Plus, they are just the right size to chuck at a potential predator if being pursued. I'm sorry, Taco Bell Chihuahua, but your life is worth less than mine. I'm starting to think that my ultimate goal in life is to transform myself into a black Paris Hilton, but self-made and minus the adolescent trauma. Miss Hilton has received so much slander in her life, and for what? What has she done really besides being born rich and thin and not knowing what Walmart is, as revealed on the pivotal educational program, The Simple Life? I think the real appeal of becoming rich as an adult is that you never have to interact with wealthy kids, who are by far the most nauseating demographic. I went to private schools most of my life, so I encountered fellow kids who were also well off, but I rarely interacted with those who were truly wealthy. I'm not talking about new money rich, where maybe one of their parents got a sweet out-of-court settlement or invested in stonks. No, I'm referring to old school intergenerational wealth, where their great-great-grandpappy struck oil, so now the family owns odd numbers. Now, if you're confused by my dislike for rich youths, as I have expressed my desire to have children in the future, let me remind you that I don't plan on interacting with my spawn on a regular basis. Upon the completion of 9 months in my womb, I will slide an eviction notice up my cooch with which they have 24 hours to comply. If they refuse, then labor will merely be induced. My birth plan consists of me being knocked out cold, then having my baby scooped out of me with a giant soup ladle, and then waking up a day later with my nails done and my fresh baby swaddled in an Hermes scarf by my side. If as toddlers they want to schedule a play date with me, then they'll have to email my assistant. If they are ever melancholy and I can hear them crying through the air vents, or they start posting sad tweets, then I will text the same assistant to go to my child's room on the other side of my mansion, give them a 5-second hug, and then hand them a note that reads, there, mommy loves you," with a $100 bill attached to it. That's parenting done right. Might they turn into adults that are so spoiled and maladaptive that they make everyone that they interact with into a temporary eugenicist? Sure, but I'm willing to take that risk. Plus, that sounds like it would make a fabulous HBO show. How I will acquire my newfound fortune, however, I'm still uncertain. In my initial fantasy, I assumed it would be via business ventures. But after some serious contemplation, I don't think that I want to be #girlbossing that hard. I'm exhausted by the concept of hard work and networking. Pretending to live in a meritocracy, grinding all day, every day, as I see all of those bootlickers constantly talking about on Twitter as I rapidly scroll past them to make my daily tweets to Jeff Goldblum begging him to adopt me. The fact that I'm a legal adult won't be an issue. I have dirt on the adoption agency. There is always the lottery or blackmail. Marrying rich is also an option. On second thought, is diddling some geriatric schlong for years as I await my rich husband's tragic, untimely, but ultimately completely inconspicuous death worth it simply for material goods? Am I worth so little? Is my dignity that meaningless? Yeah. What do your rich fantasies look like? I'm nosy. I want to know. Spare no detail. Even better if I am somehow included in them. I cannot be alone in my vain quest for shiny objects and fat stacks. Shout out to my patrons! If you'd like to sponsor my degeneracy, then please donate to my Patreon link in the description down below. You don't have to, but it would be nice, considering I don't know how long my channel will be monetized, cause your girl's got a big mouth and it's only a matter of time before I am slammed by this platform. Like and comment and subscribe. Thank you. I'm very talented.